they don't get himself in this kind of trouble? How does he pull it off? Well, first of all, there's certain behaviors and proclivities that you never have to worry about me engaging in. But most importantly than that, I often say this about Walt Disney. I'd rather work for a place with standards than one looking for them. You know why? Because lines are drawn. And I never have to worry about crossing them because guess what? I've got something there reminding me, hold on. You don't need to do that. It's not a silo. I'm not by myself. I don't get to operate in any way that I want without having to worry about ramifications or repercussions. I always have to be concerned about that. So I'm challenged every day to come on the airwaves and think about the ramifications and repercussions of anything that I do constantly. And because of that, that's an additional guardrail to secure me from putting myself in a position that could jeopardize myself, my show, my brand, my family, the company that I work for, anything like that. Again.
Now, Stephen A. is basically throwing Shannon Sharpe under the bus and running him over in his weakest point. This is Shannon Sharpe's weakest point right now, where he needs allies. And the man who boastfully says, I recruited Shannon Sharpe to come to ESPN, boastfully saying that, is now throwing him all the way under the bus, where Shannon Sharpe refused to speak on incidents that were surrounding him when it was going viral with Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James. He refused to speak on it. They didn't air one clip when LeBron ran down on him. Shannon Sharpe didn't open his mouth to embarrass Stephen A. Smith. Only when LeBron spoke up did Shannon Sharpe decided, okay, now it's time to talk because LeBron now is speaking. That was it. Now, you got any more questions to ask or to insinuate into said subject? I thought what he said was very telling right there. What that man just stated right there was very telling. He said, no, Shannon. Yes, very telling. And the reason it was very telling is because yesterday, as you all know, we got disrupted right in the middle of the video. And I promised you, we didn't even get to the last part of the video, which was going over Shannon Sharpe's ESPN policy contract. Yes, I have it. So we're going to go through that, and you guys are going to see it. Like I told you, I don't go live and repeat the same thing over and over and over. I can't do that. I have to have something new, or we're not going live with it. Now, I didn't want to make this 2 videos. They made that choice for me last night. Y'all saw that live. Wasn't because of me. That was everything to do with them. Now we got to stop, because see what we're doing is we're excluding Shannon Sharpe's positioning here. Is this a shakedown? Absolutely. It's a shakedown. But why is this a shakedown? Because you put yourself in a position to be shook down. You engaging in this nefarious affair with a person you shouldn't have been put you in a very viable situation. Well, I mean, not viable, but liable situation. You put yourself at risk. Where does that make sense? You put yourself at risk, great risk. And for what? For what? And there are ways to do this and don't have it ruin your career. Shannon Sharpe, unfortunately, did the latter. A lot of people are going to tell you, that ain't Shannon's fault. That ain't Shannon's fault. Shannon did that. That ain't Shannon. Shannon, she used Shannon. Yes. But what Stephen A. doing right now is really gloating. He's basking in it. He's like a pig in slop right now. I'm loving this. The bosses is really, I told them this is why I'm special. Now he gets to see how his special and what he means to the company and why he gets the $100 million deal. See, Shannon Sharpe was a popular figure on the show. So replacing him is not going to be as easy as everybody think. That's not going to be easy as 1, 2, 3. You're not just going to say, okay, on Mondays and Tuesdays, let's see how the numbers go. Will we survive when there's no Shannon Sharpe? No, you're going to take a hit. You're going to take a major hit, because a lot of people was tuning in to listen to hear what Shannon had to say about it. Now, nobody's really going to care. That girl is with Busby. That's all we need to know. That's right. Well, Mac Mizzle, you right about that too. That's not a very honorable man in our opinion. But the fact of the matter is, what's up, HD? Shouts out to welcome to HDIITV. He's in the house. Don't forget to follow him also on his page. He was letting it be known yesterday. Oh, this one fool tried to say the Chicago Sky had the worst starting five in the WNBA and did not even list the correct starting five for the Chicago Sky. And I felt that was hilarious. I was like, if HD sees this video, that guy is in trouble. That's all I thought about. As soon as I saw that video, I said, if HD see that video, that guy's in trouble. Oh, well, happy birthday, Mr. Bridges. Now, Paul Pierce was let go for being Paul Pierce. He didn't have a warning. He didn't have anything prior. They just let him go. Now, the reason why, and people try to do this a comparison, he said, I already did. I blasted them. I do. That's the first thing I thought about. I said, oh, man, HD is going to destroy him. So, yeah, Pistons win again. You know, that's the only reason I'm up right now. It's for the game. You know it. Now, the way Stephen A. opened up and went through the business was a prime example of what your friends do when they see an opportunity. And those people are not really your friends. They treat themselves first over you. And the way, this is why he did another video, because the first one was so condescending. Everybody was like, dude, you a crab ass friend, Stephen A. How you going to be a friend and dump on him like that? But he's a company man first, and he got no loyalty to nobody but the company. Now we finna get into what we tried to get into yesterday, and that's the Shannon Sharpe's policy in his contract. Intro, and then we're gonna let it go. We're gonna drop the intro and get this thing kicking. Hi, I'm Carcino. Oh, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
No one knows Carcino and none of these.
There's so much going on in the world, and I'm just giving my 2 cents on it. Go in and do a raid at someone's house, but you don't have an arrest warrant for them. Now, here we are. After Paul Pierce was fired, I had to clarify it was let go. Paul Pierce is at the end of his contract. Paul Pierce don't generate nearly the amount of money or revenue or streaming or eyes on it. Right? They don't, he's just a person they pay to come on there and do the show and talk basketball. And he's got a following, but he don't move the needle like Shannon Sharpe, okay? It's not even close. So them letting Paul Pierce go is not going to hurt them in no way, shape, or form. But here's where things, make a turn for the different or whatever. When you start seeing scenarios that show up and happen as they present themselves, that's when you start asking questions to yourself and saying, okay, this is a little interesting. What's actually happening here? What's actually transpiring? Well, and you see what happened with, thank you for the cash out, William. Hopefully you enjoy your birthday, Mr. Bridges. Now, I was sent something in my email. Let me see. Oh, there it is. Damn, it's all the way at the bottom now. So I'm going to actually share it with you, and we're going to go over it. Yes, 100%. Well, we like to be very thorough here, and once you're thorough, you're able to get things done. Well, when you see scenarios take a turn and it don't go in your favor, and you do something and they, because of your popularity, they take a different look at it. And that's exactly what the company did. They said, look, this is Shannon Sharpe. So when that thing with Michelle happened, oh, there my Michelle. Oh, there my Michelle. Yeah, there my Michelle. Yeah, 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 Michelle. Now, once he was saying, there's my Michelle, there's my Michelle. Once he was doing that and going on his stroll and getting his rocks off, and that came out, ESPN heard what he had to say, and Shannon Sharpe was allowed to go on his business as usual. It didn't hurt him. He talked to him. He understood how that looked, told him it was accidental. He talked to the bosses, and Shannon Sharpe was allowed to continue. People forget that that is an incident that could have gotten him fired or anybody else fired. By all means, you could have been removed. Mm-hmm. But the biggest question that you got to ask yourself is why? You feel me? Why are we doing that? Why are they omitting a lot of things? Well, on April the 25th, I was sent some things, and I'm going to show it to you now. I'm going to show you what I got. Boom, from my email. Okay. This was sent to me. ESPN's house rules. This is in Shannon Sharpe's contract, and I want you guys to see what's here. Let me remove everything so you guys can read it at the same time. Okay, I'm gonna remove my face out of here because it might be in the way. Y'all don't need to see my face anyway. Y'all know what I look like. All right, now let's see what we got here. Welcome to ESPN. We set the standards for what is acceptable here. We must all take responsibility for the quality of our experience. In this spirit, we have drawn up some rules to help everyone understand what is acceptable and what is not acceptable on ESPN.com. So we are obligated to have our lawyers put the house rules in legal terms. So they're explaining to everybody that works there. They had the lawyers put all of this in everybody's contract at ESPN. So this is what's in Shannon Sharpe's contract. This is what I was trying to show y'all yesterday before they clipped us. Now, you might say, well, how can you show what's in his contract? Because this is the house rules. So it's policy. So it's not exclusive. A quality environment for all of our members is a service provided to the member by Info, Go Networks, blah, 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 blah. Let's get to the actual rules. And let's get to this right here where it says members who violate the terms, and notice this is in bold, members who violate the terms of the house rule may permanently be banned from using ESPN.com. Using ESPN.com will constitute acceptance of the terms and conditions of the rules. You are entirely liable for all activities, conduct through any member names, handles, or usernames, regardless. Now, this is the house rules deal, but these are the terms of service. So they're basically saying anybody at ESPN.com and ESPN period are subject to the same thing. Um, Shannon Sharpe read that. I'm quite sure Shannon Sharpe can read it. Now, what they were saying is they say ESPN.com currently is provided a free service to the members who abide by the rules. But here's the thing, ESPN.com policy rules are the same policy rules that they have in the workplace, meaning that the same things that are in the policy of what's accepted and what's not accepted for those who work there, it's the same as policies that's in everybody's contract from the people that work there. These are the house rules, which means it goes to everybody that's in the house of ESPN. It's not exclusive to just Shannon Sharpe. Okay, it's not exclusive to one person. It's for everybody in the house. That's why they call it the house rules. If the house say we have dinner at 9:00 p.m., that's for everybody in that house to know. We eat at 9:00. Lights out at 11 here in this house. That's the house rules. Now, let's go over what's in the deal here. The use of ESPN.com services for illegal purposes or soliciting an illegal act is strictly prohibited, including without limitations the regular polygamated with everybody in U.S. Securities and Exchange, blah, blah, blah. No pornographic, obscene, nude, graphic, violent, or inappropriate images are prohibited. Defamatory, liable, hateful, once again, adult content, profane, obscene language is prohibited. Offensive, indecent member names, screen names. So all of this is from the online, right? Harassment of another person online is not prohibited. Is not permitted. Solicitation of gambling is prohibited, even though they promote it on their show now. So I'm quite sure they've amended that with ESPN Bet. Do not disrupt the flow of discussion by repeating, posting the same message or image, excessive large images. Impersonation of others, including but not limited to an ESPN.com employee or representative, ESPN host or chat jockey, or another ESPN.com member is forbidden. Members' names or handles that will impersonate will be blocked. ESPN.com may elect its sole discretion to monitor some, all, if not, or no area of ESPN.com for adherence to the house rules. These may be published from time to time. You acknowledge that providing you with the ability to distribute your content is acting as a passive conduit for such distribution, and ESPN.com is not undertaking any obligation or liability relating to any content or activities and community applications. Now, users acknowledge that ESPN.com may disclose certain registration information third party by its private policy, as it's described, like to law enforcement and things of that nature. So it's the same thing in the contracts that they have at ESPN. they can show your information and give that to the police. If the police needed your information and go through some, well, hey, what's up, Lucky Star? Now, if you have some people that want to go through the information and they wanted to find something of interest, let's say they saw something that they found was very interesting and they wanted to go and explore more, they could. They could turn it right over to the police, and it says it in the contract in terms of service. So now, any person that has access to your account must evaluate and bear the risk associated with the accuracy, completeness, and usefulness of any message, information, text, data, and materials. ESPN.com reserves the right to remove any content that they seem is hurtful. Once again, just like it is in anybody else's contract, what's on ESPN, they own. Okay? Unless they've used yours via third party, they own the content. Meaning that you're in their studios recording, they own that. Now, they don't agree that you use chain letters, junk mail, and unsolicited bulk mail or any type of spam. You or ESPN, they may terminate your accounts at any time for anybody there at ESPN.com. If your account, and this is for everybody there. So what's in the contract and what's on ESPN.com as far as house rules is almost the exact same thing, except for certain things are made just for posts. Look, we reserve the right to terminate any member for any reason or no reason at all. We reserve the right to terminate any member for any reason or no reason at all. That means they can terminate you. It is in their house rules that they can terminate you. We're not worried about Shannon Sharpe and did he do it or didn't he? None of us really believe he did any of the things that they're saying that he did to the woman. We're on Shannon Sharpe for putting himself in the position to have this happen to him. That's the only reason any of us are having any type of like, damn, Shannon, why? Why would you do this to yourself? Like, this makes no sense. I mean, when you start looking at all of these things in totality, what are you really talking about? Do you want to be the old guy falling asleep at barbecues, at the game, Come on. They got to be a little bit more realistic than that. None of them care. Oh, no. Well, when you see things play out in a way that don't usually make sense, then you can start, making your own decisions. Oh, without a doubt. It's like when you sign up for a cell phone, do you read the terms and conditions of your cell phone? Mm-hmm. I know, but that's policy. Oh yeah, policy and conditions. Everybody, they know that. Yeah, I know some people that work for ESPN. They're looking for jobs right now. Hmm. I've helped get people hired at ESPN. Absolutely. I've helped people get hired at ESPN. So yes, this one guy sitting on the couch know people that work there. Not saying that they work on First Take. They work for ESPN. I know people who used to work at ESPN and they moved into other fields. They're either doing a media podcast thing. They got other people have worked there. They working at other sports. Somebody's working now at CSNBC or whatever, MSNBC, whatever the sports thing they got. They're in the media world. We helped them get a job. There's a person here that was in our chat that used to come in all the time. You don't see him no more, but it's SB. He's from like years ago. SB used to be in the chat, and he came over and when we first started the Patreon, when we started talking about helping people get jobs, and he went and applied, and he got that job that he was applying for, not the one that we provided, but he didn't get that one. He used that same process to get his application in, and he ended up getting a intern job at ESPN. Yeah, because he can edit, he can do thumbnails, he can do, and once they went into the shorts, he started making shorts and started doing that material. And so he was in the editing and film process. So he already had, some experience. Now, when Jemele Hill ran into a controversy, right, when Donald Trump was mad at her, all of a sudden they had to amend their rules. So that means, because in the contract, she didn't violate anything. No, she didn't. So they had to amend the rules. ESPN suspended her for what she said about Jerry Jones. And the key to his advertisers, who he can put strain on ESPN, forced Jemele Hill to be suspended for 2 weeks, right after her calling Donald Trump a white supremacist on Twitter, not ESPN. So now they had to include social media into everybody's contracts based on what they call the Jemele Hill situation. Before, nobody's Twitter or anything meant anything, right? Until that happened. But they said, no, Bill Simmons got suspended for tweeting what happened at a Boston radio when he called them deceitful scumbags on ESPN radio. Well, he didn't do it on the radio, he did it on Twitter. And they suspended him for 2 weeks. Then in 2015, they suspended Keith Olbermann, right? He was on ESPN too, and he went to Twitter to talk about students at Penn State over a charity fundraiser. He got 2 weeks. Kurt Schilling, remember him? He got suspended after he tweeted a meme using a Nazi imagery. So everything we post or comment in a social media is public. So the new ESPN guidelines stated, and everything we do in public is associated with ESPN. Employees were also told not to break news outline, online, or anywhere else that should first be disseminated on ESPN's own outlets. Staffers are allowed to pass along information that is being spread publicly, such as a press conference and things of that nature. Do nothing that would undercut your colleagues' work or embroil the company in unwanted controversy. The new guideline states employees may post less, giving the new rules in one sentence in particular. Think before you tweet, post, or otherwise engage on social platforms. Yes. So what they have to do now at ESPN is they have to confer with their producers and editors before posting commentary on social or political issues to manage volume and ensure a fair and effective presentation. The policy also mandate that when employees to post comments online, they should be related to current issues impacting sports unless otherwise approved by a senior editorial management. So you got to have somebody to you report to before you could talk about anything political or social issues at ESPN. That is the new policy now. Mm-hmm. Exactly. So that's the current state right there that they have to go ahead and do. Yes. So for political and what they call cultural issues. So they wanted to tamper down on future outbreaks. So they amended the rules because it wasn't really originally in the contract that way, because social media was not really viewed that way. And it was like, I'm on my own time. I'm not on company's time. So ESPN feels that you are on company's time if you're on social media, and we're gonna put that in the contract. So they put that into everybody's contract. So now social media, Facebook, Instagram, all of that is connected to your contract at ESPN. And they want to call it the Jamel Hill rule, but white people was getting suspended for it too. But they want to put it as the Jamel Hill rule. Because why? She's black. So anything negative, well, that's Shannon Sharpe. You would have to ask Shannon Sharpe why he wants to be treated in such a way that makes no sense to any of the rest of us. Now, what can keep him? What could keep him out? Mm, yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. Everybody's the terms of the contract that everybody has, right? The policy is for everybody. It's not for this is for Shannon Sharpe. Now that's a whole nother area of the contract, but the terms and conditions of code of conduct, that's going to remain the same. Mm-hmm. When you have an agreement, not with just ESPN, with the Walt Disney Company. So you having an ESPN and Disney um, unification as they are more unified now legally in everything. Before it used to be its own little separate thing. Now they're having an agreement where everything is going to be merged. So that means you're going to have Hulu, Disney, ESPN, all in one big bow. When before they were all separate entities. You're going to have all three of them bundled together if you don't have it already. So the contracts are going to be bundled in together as a rebranding of this is how we're going to move going forward. I know, right? And I remember a time you had to actually be divisive in order for someone to say you were divisive. I remember a time when somebody actually had to be a problem for somebody to say, hey, he's a problem. I remember when you actually had to hit someone for it to be called an assault. It's not that. It's that Shannon Sharpe, like most people, feel like his ego seemed to expand it over the last few days. And because of that, other people chimed in with their words because we've seen other people get thrown under the bus. We've seen what happened with Michael Irvin in his situation and how unfortunate that was because of what they call he has a pattern of behavior. They went after Michael Irvin, but you never hear what happened to that woman that put that false claim on Michael Irvin.
The Boston game. And just like most people, picked up my phone, boom, started scrolling. The first thing came up was, of course, the tape of the phone conversation between Shannon and the girl. I don't want to disrespect her, and I don't want to call her Jane Doe now that their name is out there. Just because listen, I'm almost afraid to even talk about it, and I didn't want to talk about it. I would just sit here and enjoy the game. and I should have just watched the game, maybe not picked up the phone. But when I picked up the phone, it made me feel that. I saw one time that the leak tape, and then the statement came up, Shannon's statement, because he had to speak and address all the social media. Uh, Everything comes up. His lawyer saying they offered $10 million or tens of millions. And now the thing starts to unravel in a way that I say that obviously the intent or whatever it is, it gets worse and worse for him. And that's why it put me in a bad place. Like I woke up excited about the draft tomorrow. And then well, we started last night. The Lakers did win, but we'll talk about all of that. And then excited about the draft, and then just trying to watch sports. But I love watching sports and pulling the meaning out of sports. But we get these stories like this, and because of Shannon, it makes his way into sports, and this is like when he said they offered $10 million to settle it. Everybody will think out here like, oh, well, you must got something on you if you're going to offer $10 million. But this game now is not a game about finding truth. That's what that's what I was trying to say to you guys on the live stream yesterday. And my God, I don't really want to talk about it, but because of I've had such history. But that's why I have to talk about it, because I don't know if I can remain real with you guys of knowing that I've had history and I don't say anything about it, and it's not my way anyway. But be you not deceived. I don't want to talk about it. I really don't, because I work hard to keep it out of my life. I don't even like talking because I don't want to bring it around me, and every man worries about it, or what he's going through, and this is what it is. Because now he's venturing into a place where it's just lose-lose for him. People say, why would you offer $10 million? You must have had something. You must have done something. You must have done something. No, it doesn't mean you're guilty. This is and that's a hell of a nuisance value. What a lot of people have to do is have to determine if there's a nuisance value to make it just get out of here. If it's something that can destroy you, and you're seeing what's happening, and their side, they're not going to put everything out at once. They're going to keep putting little things out, one at a time. So everybody will talk about this today. Then you'll give it a couple of days, and something else will come out. They'll put out something new. That's why, in the beginning, a lot of people were shocked to hear that he offered $10 million. But that's what they call in that business a nuisance value. Now, you look at the 10, I look at 10 and say, whoa, that's real. But from him, and I'm sure all his advisors and lawyers and everything, they're not looking at the 10, they're looking at the 100 that was in the press 2 weeks ago. So they're saying, oh God, do we just get the 10 so we can take in the 90? Because what's happening now is what they were worried about the most. They were willing to give the 10 to take in the 90. That was probably the best business move. And I'm sure that's what they were thinking. Because now, rather she gets anything or not, and at some point, all they're going to do is keep releasing things until you relent. And I worry if every time something comes out, do those numbers continue to change? That 10 to 90. Now they bring something out, it go 30 and 70. Oh, you see what I'm saying? Okay, until it gets to a point where, I don't know, does he lose everything? That's what I'm concerned about. That's why I was talking about this. This is the worst place to get. And if the game was played for truth, nobody would be doing this. We'll wait till we get to a courtroom. But the game isn't played for truth. The game is played, and I'm saying that game is just a game. God, please, I don't want any of it. Shouldn't even talking about it. But I'm just saying that game is played a different way. It ain't about let's find out really what happened. Let's find out about the truth. It's let's find out who's the best at convincing or confusing people, but getting them on our side. And through that process,
Yep.
the only person that has anything to lose is Shannon Sharpe.
The only person that has something to lose in the situation is Shannon Sharpe. Exactly. The only person who has something to lose is Shannon Sharpe. This girl got nothing to lose. Who is she? We didn't know her before this. She didn't gain OnlyFans followers from this. She didn't gain IG followers. So the only person that had something to lose was Shannon Sharpe. But the biggest part of this whole situation that I kept trying to tell people about too, if they would even take the time to listen, is that they want your attention. That's it. That's what they want from you. That's what they need your cooperation on. They need your attention. They need your eyes and ears. Without your eyes and ears, they can't do what it is they do. So they need your attention on everything. That's all. So Michael Irvin first opened his mouth. He said a very key word. I was afraid. I was scared. Scared because he know what happened with him and how he was treated. He was treated as if he was the scum of the earth. That broke out and it came down to, oh, everybody knows that. Mm-hmm. Yes, I've known a few people that worked at ESPN through Top Rank Boxing. They got employed when ESPN and Top Rank merged. I would have been one of the first people hired by ESPN when they wanted to do boxing and have like a like a boxing website on ESPN, and they were going to put on their own little boxing segment show with people on the internet. And at the said time, I was one of the main voices for boxing. And plus, they knew I knew Floyd Mayweather. So that was key to them at that time. But the show never got off the ground. The guy who was trying to produce the show couldn't get all the numbers together to do the show. So it didn't work out. It was going to be me and a panel of like 3 other guys. And it wasn't like paying us to do it. I mean, it wasn't a lot of money at all to do the show. But if somebody say, we're going to give you $1,000 a week, you know, and you do, what was it, $1,000 for, I think it's $1,000 for every time you appear. And we were doing the show at least once a week. Like at first, like it was Thursday, then they said, oh, are you guys available on Wednesdays? Like we do the Wednesday breakdown, and then we might do a special show after a big pay-per-view, like on a Monday or something. If you guys aren't busy, we could do it on a Sunday. We could just do it online, and you know, it'd be great. But they were talking about an actual studio. Because I was like, I'm in Chicago, so what are we going to do there? And they was like, well, we got ESPN Chicago. You can go down to ESPN Chicago and get it set up. I still think I got dude's number too. But anyway, that went left. So we understood the policies and everything that came along with it. This was many moons ago. This is way before they did ESPN TV. This was completely internet only. This was in the earlier process. Like we're talking like YouTube had been around for maybe 2 years or maybe 3 years. I mean, at that time, it was like a lot of money for everybody on the internet. But I think it was something like $1,000 if we do 2 episodes or something like that. It would have been a help, because if we were consistently doing the show every week, that would have been great. But it was like, well, they're saying like that's too much for this and that. So they'll do like everybody come up and they'll get like $500. But it's not going to be affiliated. You're not employed by ESPN. You know, so it was a whole lot of red tape and BS going on back and forth. Back then, you had to pay for your own bandwidth, and it was super expensive because other people couldn't afford that. Sponsors would have to come in, and videos couldn't be that long like it is now. You know, like right now, my live stream, this live stream for 1 whole hour would bankrupt a company. I'm dead serious. It will bankrupt them paying for that bandwidth. Mm-hmm. So what Michael Irvin was putting out to the world was in something entirely different. What Michael Irvin was trying to get implemented over into people is for them to understand, like, hey, I know this is a bad situation. Like, you don't have to tell me. I know. So Michael Irvin knows firsthand what the problem is. Oh, 100%. Oh, I promise you it do. The internet wasn't that slow in 2008. The internet wasn't that slow. They had high-speed internet back then. In like 2005, 6, 7, you ain't have dial-up no more. It wasn't like, you probably thinking 03. Anything before the 05 era. Yeah, when it was dial-up. Like anything from 2003 around that time, yeah, it was not quick internet. Yeah, the mayor seems to believe. Shouts out to Showface News. Let's see if I can find it for you guys. The mayor, he thinks the girl is Cat Stack's daughter or something. I was like, I haven't checked it out, really. But he's saying he believes it's the daughter of Cat Stacks. Remember that little ratchet chick who was trying to get popular for sleeping with everybody, for being a thought? And he said inside sources allege that Cat Stacks is the mother of Shannon Sharpe's accuser. Because I do want to know, where's the parents? I mean, but you could show any white girl and she looked like any other white girl. It just, I could show you another white girl that looked just like that girl Shannon Sharpe was with. But shouts out to Showface News, because he's the one that brought this to the light. So make sure you subscribe to Showface News and check out the mayor's channel. No, I haven't really looked in it. I just saw it was just the same way I showed it to you, same way I saw it. I ain't hear what the mayor had to say yet. Well, let me get ready for this game. We will be going live here for the Pistons game. So we got about 30 minutes and we're going right back. So let's gear up for that. And I'll holler at y'all later. We out. Hi, I'm Carcino. Oh, let's talk